the time has come now for you to apply evidence-based reflective practice in action. And you do this by, firstly, preparing and teaching a lesson using evidence-based teaching principles. In other words, applying the core principles of learning and the methods that are most likely to work for the students you teach. Remember, bear in mind the learning outcomes and their prior knowledge. You customize accordingly. Now, you may well be teaching this lesson, and during that lesson you may think, well, this isn't working too well, and I think I've got a better idea on how to engage the students better, meet the learning outcomes in a better way with an example, a story, etc. And that's where you're actually doing reflection in action, according to Donald John. And if it works, that's creative teaching. But most importantly, what you need to do is reflection on action, and in particular using an evidence-based approach. So you can certainly collect, as far as is possible, information in accordance with Brookfield's 4 lenses. In other words, your own perception and experience, any feedback you can get from the students. You may use a 1-minute paper, and if you've got a colleague sitting in, that's great to get another professional's opinion. And in terms of the literature, well, you've done evidence-based teaching, so you should be pretty familiar with the literature. Now, what's really important, though, is that you slow your mind down and you go back over the components of the lesson, the beginning, the transitions, the methods used, the activities, and the kind of response that you felt that you were getting from the students. And ask yourself, what seemed to go well in this lesson? Did I get good early attention? And how can I account for that? Did I get students thinking? Were they engaged? Did I see them making good thinking visible? And what did I do that created that? So you want to be able to identify things that worked and what made those things work. Now, equally, if things did not work as well as you would have liked to anticipate it, ask yourself the same questions. At that time when it didn't seem to be working, the students seemed to be confused or they were disengaged, what were you doing, and can you connect that back to some of the core principles or perhaps the method that you were using? It may well be that the activity was too easy or too difficult. It may well be that the students were not able to connect their prior knowledge to what was going on. There could be a number of things, but essentially we should be able to unpack what goes well and what doesn't go so well from an evidence-based point of view. And the good thing from this is how we learn. So we can then say in future, right, this area perhaps didn't work as well because, but if I do this, perhaps with a different story, a better example, or some other presentation, medium or activity, I might get a better response. And that's essentially what we do. And it is an incremental process. And very importantly is that once you've done your reflection on action and identified what you might change and on what basis, do make notes on your lesson plan, because if you don't do this, there's a fair chance that you might forget it. And over time, you're able to build up a very active, improvement-based lesson. That's how you do evidence-based reflection in action. And if you do it that way, it'll work, I promise you.